Past day and a half has reignited the debate about school safety. Some say it's a gun issue and that Sol Pais should never have gotten her hands on a weapon. Many more call it a mental health issue and say we should focus our efforts there. Others say schools should beef up security. The question on the mind of many parents tonight: should a threat by one teenager prevent 500,000 others from going to class?
And for many of you, that answer is simple. Your child wasn't going to class regardless of a district's decision. Yet we heard from others who believe this is a slippery slope.
There's no right or wrong answer, but there are many different perspectives. So tonight, Tom Mustin takes us 360.
It's a decision that seems obvious for many parents and students.
The inconvenience is worth, the chance of our kids being safe.
Yes, I think they had to be very safe.
I'd rather err on the side of caution.
Closing down metro area schools Wednesday after a credible security threat, grounding more than 500,000 students. The majority of the people we spoke with agreed with the decision, but enough disagreed to warrant a 360 look at the issue. We'll hear from a student who is still traumatized by the threat, his mother who supports the decision and has a solution to deal with future problems, a school administrator who defends the school closures, people for and against the move, and finally, the FBI, who says thanks are in order. We'll start with Legend High School student Ethan Reed, who watched his fellow students react in terror as news of the lockout spread.
I was panicking. I thought I was going to get shot at my school.
Ethan says closing his school was the right choice, but now he's not sure when he'll return.
I'm still really scared about what could happen tomorrow.
Ethan's mother agreed with the decision and says permanent armed security guards may be what schools need to deter future problems.
At what point they're armed and how armed they are, I'm unclear on that, but I think there should definitely be security at schools.
But other parents disagreed. Warren Cooner says adding more guns to the mix through added security or otherwise is not the answer.
I think we need to do more to think about the gun culture in this country too, in addition to just arming everybody to the teeth.
George Vilcek says this was all overkill, and holding hundreds of thousands of Colorado kids out of school because of an 18-year-old is the wrong move.
Seems like they could have held them, secured them more without closing the schools down.
On social media, Linda agreed strongly, saying shutting down school, quote, gave the power to one person whose actions affected 600,000 students. Why don't schools start taking action and install metal detectors at every school? Jason Glass with Jeffco Schools sympathized with angry parents, but said closing the schools was the right thing to do.
With Columbine and 2 other school shootings in our history, we have a quite robust system of school safety and supports that we deploy and put in place in instances like this, but it is disruptive.
Tony D'Agostino agreed.
If something would have happened where things got out of control and they didn't close the schools, then, people would have been talking about how they didn't do enough.
And for the final say, FBI Special Agent Dean Phillips, who says when it comes to protecting our children, the ends justify the means.
What do you say to people that say this was an overreach?
As a parent, I would say thank you to the school system for protecting my child.
Now, everyone agreed that the safety of our students should always be a top priority. Others mentioned the red flag law and gun control. And as we mentioned earlier, it's important to remember that in this case, the 18-year-old had no previous record and a background check came up empty. We also point out that despite being a major inconvenience to thousands of families, most people agreed that erring on the side of caution here was probably the right thing to do.
Very unsettling, that's for sure.
All right. Perspective.
Thank you, Tom.
We will continue to follow this story as we learn more. You can track the latest developments on our website, thedenverchannel.com, on social media, and on our Denver 7 News app.